The latest One Piece chapter reveals that the Holy Land has come under attack. I am 100% certain that the man behind this is Dragon. This is a plot twist One Piece has been building up to for several years now, where the manga is seemingly at last going to show us the purpose of the revolutionary army in the story, which is literally an all-out war between them and the celestial dragons. This war in the Holy Land will however very likely go even beyond these two factions, and I am personally confident it will also involve the four emperors. This conflict between the revolutionaries and the government has now been directly set up for hundreds of chapters and over the course of multiple arcs. In fact, a huge part of the current One Piece story is that even more than Luffy, Dragon has become by far the biggest active problem for the world government in the post-time skip. This all started with Doflamingo's downfall, which led to anti-government rebellions around the world emerging victorious, and the government even having to rely on people like Germa and Orochi just to combat these rebels. Rather than stopping there, however, the revolutionaries then kicked the hornet's nest during the reverie by not only rescuing Kuma and destroying the Celestial Dragon's food supply, but by declaring war on the government. This also caused the world to see Sabo as a hero known as the Flame Emperor, whose infamy rivaled dragons, and led to several more rebellions being sparked in his name. Because of the revolutionaries' actions, the Holy Land even before the latest chapter has been shown to be in complete anarchy, where even though it might not seem like a big deal, the Celestial Dragon's food shortage has now become such a massive problem for the government that they are even deploying the God's Knights to solve the situation. This is however still nothing, compared to Dragon having now personally discovered the dark truth behind the government. Sabo in the reverie learned that the entire world government is in secret being led by a king of the world named Imu, who has possibly been alive since the Void Century. If Imu's discovery was not enough, however, this was followed up by Dragon learning that the government is in possession of a super weapon that is able to destroy entire countries. But even this wasn't the true bombshell. That ended up coming immediately after, when Vegapunk in his global broadcast revealed to the entire world that this very same weapon could have been used to literally create the world's oceans during the Void Century, and that the government plans on using it to sink the entire planet. After the broadcast concluded, Dragon's reaction to all of this information was that he has to act, and to bring about a quick conclusion to his battle with the government before the entire world falls into chaos. As this latest chapter indicates, Dragon's solution could have also literally been to take the fight right to the Celestial Dragon's doorstep. The Revolutionary Army storyline is basically the biggest ongoing subplot in One Piece that does not involve the Straw Hats. Since the end of Dressrosa, every arc has slowly been building up this war between the revolutionaries and the Celestial Dragons. While Imu in the latest chapter does not identify who exactly is attacking the Holy Land, all signs are pointing to Dragon. If true, Dragon's goal here could actually be very simple, where after years of carefully playing the game, he might now just be trying to take out the Celestial Dragons as fast as possible. I however think Dragon could also have another objective in attacking the government. What Dragon could be planning might not just be a military victory, but a victory of information, with him making the entire world see the truth about the Celestial Dragons. While Vegapunk already revealed a lot in his broadcast, one huge detail about his message was that he never identified the government as being the ones who sank the continents during the Void Century, or as the ones who recently destroyed Lulusia Kingdom. What's more, whether out of denial or propaganda, the story has already shown that not everybody automatically believed Vegapunk's words in the first place. What Dragon could be trying to do with attacking the Holy Land is finding unquestionable proof to show to the entire world of the Celestial Dragon's crimes. One way he could do this would be by proving to the world that it was in fact the government that destroyed Lulusia Kingdom. The manga has given very little information about this mysterious weapon Imu used, but considering how massive it is hard to believe that the government could completely hide the fact that they're using it. One Piece has played around with this kind of storytelling before, where it is not always enough just to beat the villains in a fight, but the characters often have to show the people proof that the villains were in fact evil. For instance, in the Alabasta arc, it was not the fact that Luffy defeated Crocodile that ended the Civil War, but it was actually Igaram presenting a witness who could prove that Baroque Works had been manipulating all of the events. Moments like this where the villain's true colors are revealed frequently happen throughout the manga, and genuinely, the setup for this finally happening to the world government, and the entire world turning against them, is basically all there thanks to Vegapunk. Whatever Dragon is after, if he is literally attacking the Holy Land, this is however very likely going to be a storyline that is going to revolve around combat. One Piece has now teased Dragon and his strength since he first showed up 26 years ago in Logtown. Almost all of the build-up for him has also specifically revolved around his connection with the world government, and this can be even seen in his very first appearance, as Smoker says that the government is looking for him. If we're now finally going to see Dragon fight, however, he is in for an incredibly tough battle. The Holy Land is currently absolutely packed to the brims with some of the strongest fighters in the story. Aside from Imu himself, the Celestial Dragons include all of the previous elders, the newly appointed Elder Garling, as well as all of the yet unknown God's Knights. Shamrock has also apparently just returned to the Holy Land from Elbaf, and it could even be that he was specifically called back to fight off the revolutionaries, if they had already attacked at that point. There's also One Piece's most overlooked character, Commander-in-Chief Kong, where even though we've only seen him twice, we know that he's stationed in the Holy Land. Based on his name and facial features, it is also not at all unlikely that Kong is in fact related to Dragon, since we know that the monkey family has long served in the Marines. And naturally, there is also Akainu, where Marine HQ is located right next to the Holy Land, and we already saw with Kuma that Akainu is able to go defend Marie Choice on a moment's notice. You should definitely click here to watch my Akainu Final War video, where I in detail break down why he's set up to be such an important character in One Piece's endgame, and why we could very well see the fight between Akainu and Dragon happen very soon in the manga. What we're essentially looking at here is that this war in the Holy Land could genuinely be an event on the scale of Marineford. But really, considering all the characters involved, and just how long Dragon has been built up, it could end up being even bigger. Here is however the big twist I foreshadowed in the intro. Just like in Marineford, it could be that this won't be a war between just two factions, but that we will also see very unexpected players getting involved. I actually think it is going to be just like Marineford, where the wild card who crashes the event will once again end up being Blackbeard. Earlier, I talked about how many years now this conflict between the Revolutionary Army and the government has been built up. But what I purposefully didn't mention is that the faction that has been time and again connected with this storyline are the Blackbeard Pirates. All the way back in Dressrosa, we had a very unexpected fight between Sabo and Burgess, but this fight wasn't just combat for the sake of combat, but the manga here focused on actually building up bad blood between the revolutionaries and the Blackbeard Pirates. This fight was also set up for what would happen right after Dressrosa, where Burgess ended up being a stowaway on the revolutionary ship, and he actually ended up revealing the location of their headquarters to Blackbeard. While we never saw this event, the Revolutionary Army and the Blackbeard Pirates had a battle on Baltico, where Blackbeard was said to have leveled the place to the ground. If Burgess's words are also any indication, Blackbeard potentially stole a lot of weapons from the revolutionaries during this incident. In the very next arc, the Blackbeard Pirates and the revolutionaries end up clashing again, where one of Blackbeard's subordinates tries to invade Lulusia, but gets intercepted by the revolutionary commanders. In the final saga, this connection between the Blackbeard Pirates and the revolutionaries keeps getting more focus, where Lafitte is revealed to be on a solo mission, spying on the revolutionaries sabotaging the Celestial Dragons from getting food. Blackbeard also says a very interesting and cryptic line to Lafitte, where he tells him to start preparing for something. Here's the thing though, Blackbeard isn't just set up to clash with the revolutionaries in the near future, but also with the world government itself. This is something that has now been brought up frequently throughout the final saga. Teach reveals that he actually planned to ransom Kobe in exchange for Pirate Island being recognized as a member kingdom of the world government. Katarina Devon then ended up stealing Saint Saturn's appearance on Egghead Island. And perhaps in the most telling scene, when Saturn asks the Blackbeard Pirates what they're planning, Van Auker tells him to his face that they want the entire world. Based on all of these scenes, Blackbeard very clearly has a big plan in mind that somehow involves the government, the way I see it. Blackbeard's involvement in this climactic battle between Dragon and the government is essentially guaranteed. where it really looks like we're soon going to be experiencing Marineford 2.0 in more ways than one. If you want to go crazy with trying to predict this event, I wouldn't even be surprised if we also got something like Impel Down 2.0 during this whole kerfuffle, since Impel Down is actually located very close to the Holy Land. If Blackbeard also does end up getting involved in this battle, I'd assume this is the moment where he'd also go for Ancient Weapon Poseidon, as Fishman Island is located right underneath the Holy Land. Basically, since a three-way war between Emu, Dragon and Blackbeard clearly isn't interesting enough, the story obviously has to throw ancient weapons, a prison riot, and who knows what else in the mix. For full transparency, it would be pretty funny if the manga made a complete fool out of me by revealing that the character attacking Marie Choice isn't actually Dragon. I made a video last year that Akainu could possibly react to Vegapunk's broadcast by literally going up to the Holy Land and fighting Emu, but in hindsight, I think that is now incredibly unlikely to happen, since the end of the arc seems to hint that Akainu, at least for now, is chill with his bosses. I personally cannot think of anyone else who could possibly be behind an invasion of the Holy Land than Dragon. I even made the thumbnail of this video all the way back in 2024, where I wanted to make a prediction video about Dragon doing exactly this, and finally attacking the government in 2025. I just never got around to finishing it. If you've got your own idea on who else this attacker could be, or how you think this conflict will play out, please educate me in the comments. More importantly though, you should definitely click here to watch my other video from last year about Dragon, where I also talked about him attacking the government. But more importantly, why this storyline that actually now looks to be happening could lead to Dragon literally dying in his very first arc. Thank you to all my members, your plunder is greatly appreciated. But if you also learned something new in this video, consider getting your name added to this list of victims by clicking the join button, because you'll also get access to my secret videos. I once again find myself in a situation where there's dozens of One Piece videos I'd like to make, but on top of everything else, in just a few days, I'm going to be traveling, so putting out new content is going to be pretty challenging. Anyway, thank you to everybody who watched this all the way to the end. Take it easy.